Hey guys, Dakota from Cardtropolis CCG. Today we're going to be doing another modern deck profile. The Jeskai Stoneblade should be up now. But yeah, so this is the new black-red. People call it mid-range. I think it plays very aggressive, so I just call it like black-red aggro with some like mid-range, like good resilient threats and stuff. But yeah, this is the deck that I would have taken to the modern 2K if I had practiced with it a little bit more. But there's just a ton of play to this deck, and I did not think I was going to play it as like efficient enough. So I ended up just playing Stoneblade to a 5-2 record, 13th place. So there was a couple players on this deck at that tournament. But yeah, I think this was like one of the top decks to like hate out. The deck is very graveyard reliant, so any kind of card like Rest in Peace or like that new card from Modern Horizons like Paladin Endvec that like exiles all black and red cards and says black and red cards get exiled when they go to the graveyard, like that just shuts off this deck. And I don't like having a deck that just almost like loses if the graveyard's gone. So, like, if there's no graveyard, like, it's just a 1-1. This can't come back. So you're playing, like, two, like, actual threats. You can't get anything back with Kolaghan's Command. You can't, like, get anything back with Luris. Like, I don't know. And there's not, like, a ton of ways to destroy, like, enchantments in here. I would argue that there's almost 0 ways. Well, I guess Engineer closest. But yeah, so this is just pure black-red. Some decks are playing white for prismatic ending, which is what I was testing first, but the mana was a little weird and very like damaging to your life. So like if you went against any burn deck, you were probably dead, which is why I opted for 2 Collector Brutality on the side. I just don't want to lose the burn. But yeah, so we'll just get into the deck profile. This deck uses a ton of new cards from Modern Horizons 2, like a lot of new cards. Count 4, 8, 12, 15, 17 new cards, so that's pretty good. I mean, the core of the deck is still very much like Jund, but then you just kind of it's kind of like the new version of Jund. So it's like I think I've heard it called like Zoomer Jund or something, because it's like the young kids play this deck. But yeah, so we'll get into the deck profile now. First up, we got Regavan. The card's insane. Very good going first. I think I always lead with it, because if it doesn't get answered, then you just get so far ahead on mana and everything. So very good if it connects. Yeah, if it deals damage to a player, you get a treasure token. And then you exile the top card of your opponent's deck, and you may cast that. And the treasure tokens make any color mana, so you can like play your opponent's spells sometimes. Very good card. I should probably say that we're using Luris as a companion. So once a turn, you can play a permanent from your discard into play, and it has lifelink. But every permanent in the deck has to cost 2 or less mana. So no like Liliana the Veil or anything. But yeah, so this can bring back like all of our threats, which is really nice. So you can bring back Regavans and stuff. It is legendary. So we can't like play more than one, which I think is pretty balanced. But so if they kill the first one and we go like turn 2 discard and the second one, that's totally okay too. Next up is Dragon's Rage Channeler. This is like the aggressive card of the deck. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you surveil once. So look at the top card. You can either leave it on top or put it in the discard. And then when you have Delirium, it becomes a 3/3 flyer with it has to attack every turn. So this deck doesn't block very well. So it likes to attack. But the surveil is really nice. You can like filter lands to the discard if you start like flooding. And then you can put like, creatures, Croxa, artifacts, sorcery, all the fun stuff to try to hit Delirium faster. But yeah, there's a ton of tricks you can do with this card. You can like bobble, like cast the bobble, trigger the surveil, and then like sack the bobble again, and like that combined with fetch lands. There's so many different orders in which you can like sequence your spells, and that's what kind of deferred me from like playing this deck in such a high level event, just because I didn't want to get any like warnings or anything. But yeah, so this card's really good. I think, I mean, Ragavan's really good, but I feel like this card might be better than Ragavan, and it's an uncommon. I'm not sure. All I know is like when I'm playing, I like drawing this more in a lot more matchups because Ragavan sometimes gets like stonewalled by like some things, whereas Dragonlord Channeler just like it's hard to block and very aggressive and very very good card. Next up we got Douthly Voidwalker. This card's pretty sweet. It's 2 mana shadow, so it can only be blocked or block things with shadow. So again, it doesn't block like Channeler, but it's also unblockable pretty much. So it's a 2 mana 3/2 that's unblockable. That's already pretty strong. Whenever an opponent's card is put into the graveyard, you exile it with a void counter on it, and then you can tap this and sack it to cast anything for free from, oh my gosh, someone's calling. I'm not open right now. And you can cast anything for free off the Voidwalker. So like in playtesting, I played this, and then I like Thoughtseize, took an Emrakul, and then sacked this to like play the Emrakul. So that was actually insane. Like that's probably like the best thing you could be doing with this. But yeah, again, it's main deck graveyard hate for the opponent, so that's really good. And yeah, again, just a lot of play. Like there's a lot of things that you can do with this that a lot of people might not like see right away. But yeah, casting your opponent's spells makes this deck really complicated to play when you're also like playing your opponent's deck. Next up, we got Kroxa. Kroxa's the opposite of like Uro. 2 mana, when it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a card, and then if they discarded a land or didn't discard anything, then they lose 3 life. And you can escape it for 4 mana and exiling 5 cards from your graveyard. So this is a super resilient threat if they don't have graveyard hate. We cast a ton of spells. We have fetch lands, lots of discard, bobble stuff, so we can play this multiple times from the graveyard. Also with Surveil, just making our graveyard pretty big is nice. One downside though is depending on when you escape it, if you have like Channeler out, you might lose Delirium, or Unholy Heat, you might lose Delirium, or you lose like targets for Luris. So you just have to know like when to do it. But I mean, 6 mana or 6/6 for like 4 mana is pretty good, and it triggers the like it just makes the clock way faster. And yeah, very good card. I wish it wasn't so graveyard dependent like the rest of the deck, but very good card. That's it for threats. Some people are playing like the Turok. I didn't like it. It's pro white, which is nice, but like by the time I was playing it for 4 mana, my opponent had no hand anyway because I was just ripping it apart. So like, or it just get countered, or yeah, it just didn't seem like what the deck wanted to be doing, and I just wanted to max out on like almost everything else. So I think instead of the Turok, I think I'm playing an extra removal spell and an extra Thoughtseize, I think. But yeah, on to removal. So we got 4 Lightning Bolt, 3 damage to any target, kills a lot of things, and gives us reach when we're trying to go face. Really good with Kroxa, that deals 3. Really good Channeler, it's basically the new Delver. Also triggers Surveil, so like you can upkeep, bolt their thing, or even bolt their face, trigger the Surveil, see if you want to draw that card and mill it or not. So if it's like a land, you just discard it and then maybe draw like a good spell or something. Unholy Heat does 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and if you have Delirium, which is pretty easy in this deck, we have land, instant, sorcery, creature, and an artifact. And we have a lot of milling to try to hit the artifact. It's like the 5th one, but so it's very likely that we have all the types, but it does 6 damage instead. So it can just outright kill planeswalkers. It kills a lot of creatures that Lightning Bolt doesn't, and it's 1 mana instant. So this card's actually like really insane too. Next up, we got 2 Terminate. It's just instant speed, destroy anything. The can't be regenerated part, I don't know how relevant that is right now. But 2 mana instant speed, destroy anything. Sometimes Unholy Heat's not big enough. And it's just nice to have just a clean removal spell. And then lastly, we got 3 Kolaghan's Command. This card's really good. It is 3 mana, and sometimes we have difficulty hitting 3 mana sometimes. because I'm playing a really low land count. But it gives us, you know, a little bit of grind game. Also, it's just there's a lot of good artifacts right now, so having like main deck indirect main deck artifact removal is really nice. Can also bring back our creatures, can make our opponents discard a card. So again, just super versatile card. I tried playing 4, but 4 was a little clunky, so we just ended up at 3. Next up, we got Mishra's Bauble, kind of like the glue to the deck. It works with fetch lands. It makes our deck like a 56 card deck. It's good with Channeler. It's good with Luris. It's good with Kroxa. It's good with almost everything. Good at looking at our opponent's like top deck to see what they're playing or what they're gonna draw for the turn. So you can like bauble and then discard spells, so you know what they're gonna draw, so you can take accordingly. Because you know whenever you thought see something, that was draw it, right? Yeah, it's crazy good with Channeler. But yeah, the card has a ton of synergy in the deck. Next up, we got 4 Inquisition and 4 Thoughtseize. So 8 hand attack spells. I think Inquisition is really good right now because the curve of Modern is so low and so many decks are aggressive. But Thoughtseize hits a lot of really important things like Cauldron Complete, which we don't have an answer main deck for. You know, Batterskull, like it makes our Stoneforge Mystic matchup really good. Like I don't think we can lose to Stoneforge Mystic. Like we have Kolaghan's Command, like removal, like so that's pretty good. Against combo decks, having the maximum like 8 discard buys us enough time so we can kill quickly with like Channeler and stuff. So it makes combo matchups really good. Control matchups, you just take the whatever counterspell they need at the time and just kind of go under them. And then like if you can also take their board right before they use it. So I don't know. I think this deck it's very good against a lot of things. But yeah, that's it for spells. It's a good amount of sorcery. It's a good amount of instants. So very easy to hit Delirium. Next up, we got lands. I believe we're on 20 lands. 7, 12, 6. We're on 21 lands. I think I was playing 20, but it was a little low. But a lot of decks are playing like 22, 23, but I just kept flooding so much, even with the Surveil. So I wanted to just shave. The curve is so low, other than like Kolaghan's Command, or maybe like Escape Kroxa. I just wanted to not hit like 4 land that often. So I decided to shave 1. But yeah, we're on 7 fetches. And then we're on 2 Blood Crypt, 2 Swamp, and a basic mountain. We definitely want 2 swamps for like people are joking about bringing Blood Moon against us, which like I don't know. I guess we have like a double black thing, but we only really need 1 black to do anything. We're mostly red, so I don't really agree with that. But you know, 2 swamps so we don't take too much damage. We have Blackcleave Cliffs, which is you know really good early game, perfect mana for us. Next up, we got 2 Graven Cairns. It's like the black-red filter land. You can pay tap it and put 1 mana into it, and then make either double red, double black, or black and red. So it's awkward if you draw both of these, but it's not likely to happen. But it's really good if you want a Kroxa. So say you only have like this, you know, and like all red sources for whatever reason. I don't even know how that's possible. Like. Yeah, I don't even know. Like, it just makes it so you get whatever colors you need. And you don't really take damage. I think that's the biggest thing, is it's not a shock or a fetch, so it's just good mana filtering. I guess it could be good if you draw your mountain and that, and you can still play Voidwalker, I guess. Or like double discard or something. Next up, we got like our tech lands. Like these are sweet. Okay, so we got like Castle Lochthwain, which is like anti-flood insurance. Enters the battlefield untapped if we have a swamp, which we have 4 of in the deck that we can fetch up probably turn 1 or turn 2 because we're probably discarding or something. And then you can pay 3 and tap this, so 4 mana total. You draw a card and you lose life equals to the number of cards in your hand. So you'll do this like at your opponent's like end step, or in your upkeep to like draw and like lose 1 life, and then you draw for turn. So that's really good. If we start flooding, we have extra mana to like do stuff with that. And then we have these Kamigawa lands. Like, these are awesome. So these are legendary lands that tap for red or black, no restriction or anything, no life, no whatever. And then you can pay the respective color and tap this, so 2 mana total. This one gives target creature fear until end of turn, and this one gives first strike. So if you go like, Ragavan turn 1 and then one of these turn 2, if they like block, you can give fear so they can't block Ragavan unless like they block with like an artifact or something. Or you can give it like first strike after they block. If they don't read your lands, you can definitely like blow out some people if they try to trade their like, I don't know, Llanowar Elf, or like they want to trade their own Ragavan and just don't read your cards. But yeah, this makes Ragavan really good and can sneak some stuff. But yeah, cards really good. And they're basically free. Like, they're black and red, they don't really cost anything, but they both work with Ragavan, so that's really cool. But yeah, so the deck's very clean, very efficient, very consistent. Pretty much like 4-ofs of all the important cards, and like, just a variety of removal, and then like, I don't think you'd need 4 Croxa, but yeah. And then on to sideboard. Again, pretty consistent sideboard. We got our Lurrus, so that takes one of our spots. Then we got Shattering Spree. So destroy target artifact, and you can replicate for a red. So every red mana you pay, you can destroy an artifact. So you can just like wipe artifact decks. Another reason why Graven Cairns is good. So if you have any like swamps or anything, or like these black lands, you just make some red out of them and get more artifact removal off of it. So that's pretty good. Next up, we got 2 Alpine Moon. So this basically turns off like Urza Saga, Tron lands. Basically says your mana or your lands only tap for mana, no other effects. So that's really good. You give them like perfect colored mana, but that's not really the point of it. It's just to turn off the effects and stuff. Be careful, as this does this hit us too? Nope, only opponents. So we can still use our like little tech lands and stuff too. Next up, we got Void Mirror. So whenever a player casts a spell for free, and didn't pay mana for it, or like you didn't use a color. Yeah, if no colored mana was spent to cast it, counter it. So this is good for Cascade decks, mostly Cascade decks, or Eldrazi, or Tron. So yeah, this hits Tron, Eldrazi, and the Cascade decks. You gotta be careful because it does stop our bauble. It just counters it, so we can still cast it to get the Surveil trigger and the artifact in the graveyard, but we won't be able to like draw or sack it to look at anyone's deck or anything. But sometimes, so you try to use this before you play the Void Mirror, but if you top the deck this after, there's still some value to it. Also puts a card in the discard for Croxa, so that's cool. Next up, we got Engineered Explosives. We can only cast it for 2 colors. We can only get it on X's 2. But again, it's good for like Rhino tokens, which are big and hard for us to kind of deal with, like 1-for-1 removal and stuff. Good for wiping artifacts and stuff. Just a nice little board wipe in our colors that normally don't have board wipes. Next up, we got Collector Brutality. It's mostly in there for burn. You can pick the modes, and you can escalate by discarding cards. So it can help you get to Delirium. It can also like discard Croxas or like extra lands. But against burn, you can like kill something and gain 2 life. Or against combo, you can bring it in as an additional discard spell to rip out their combo pieces from hand. Non-creature combo pieces, but still. And then lastly, we got 3 pieces of Graveyard Hate. I wanted to diversify the Graveyard Hate. We don't need a ton in here because like Dauthi Voidwalker exiles our opponent's stuff, but if they kill this, it's nice to have more. So Cling to Dust is good against like hitting opponent's Croxas or like flashback targets or like Snapcaster Mage, and you can escape it, which we have tons of cards in our graveyard usually, so that's nice. Nihil Spellbomb, we sacrifice it to exile all of target player's graveyard, and we can pay 1 black to draw a card. So that's a nice little cycle that also helps trigger our Delirium and like our Surveils and stuff. And then we have Soul Guide Lantern, which is really nice. So you can, when you play it, you can exile 1 card from a graveyard. So like if you need to exile your own, which I don't think would come up really, but you can exile a card from your opponent's graveyard, and then you can sacrifice it to exile your opponent's graveyard, or you can pay 1 and sack it to draw a card. So if you need to hit one thing out of their graveyard, and like cycle, you can like do that, or you can like hit one thing, force them to refill the graveyard, and then sack it again. So it's kind of like 2 pieces of graveyard hate in one, or like you can just use the one little poke of the graveyard and then, or snipe of the graveyard and then draw a card and kind of keep going and stuff. But yeah, that's the deck. Very simple. I would argue that it is very hard to play this deck. The cards in themselves are very powerful, but I do think playtesting a lot with this is definitely necessary. But yeah, the deck's very good. You're playing literally the most powerful cards in Modern, like right now. I don't think any of these need to get banned. The creatures are fine, I think. I do think Mishra's Bauble is basically going to be the prime target. It's good with all the companion decks. It's good with... it's basically like a free draw. It's good with Urza's Saga if they want to grab that to just draw a card. So yeah, I think this one's gonna eat a ban in a couple months. So enjoy it while you can. If they hit this, I guess we just probably go up like more land, another removal spell, maybe another threat. It does make some of our cards worse, but and it makes Delirium harder. So maybe we start main decking like spell bombs for like mirror matches and stuff, and a cycle. But yeah, I don't think the deck dies if this card goes, but we definitely get weaker. But yeah, this deck's really good. I urge you guys to try it out. It is a little expensive because like Monkey's like $60 right now, but yeah, it is a lot of fun. If you like playing like aggro decks, it plays very much like an aggro deck. If you've played like standard aggro decks before, it plays very similarly. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you are looking at any other deck lists, you know, or want any deck profiles for any other Modern decks, feel free to put some in the comments. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more of this type of content. Thank you very much, and bye!